Hi guys, I'm finally back to you with a review of this Marantz MA-9SE clone. You can get this one for about $250, shipping included, and without shipping it's closer to $200. So it's really cheap. It's actually price-wise in the lowest tier of the clones that I'll be reviewing. But it's good. So let's find out some more details. Okay, so the associated equipment details, so my whole setup that I was using during this audio test is described in the video description. There are also store links for this amplifier to the place that I bought this one from. And let's start with the review. So a few words of introduction. This one is called Marantz MA-9 clone. Some of the offers that I saw for them are called MA-9SA. This amplifier is produced by HiFi, and I think it's probably based on Marantz MA-9S2 or MA-9S1 versions. So these would be the model numbers for the original. The original had scored 5 stars at What HiFi review at 2008. So that would be like 16 years ago. Yeah, but at that time it was £5,000 each because original MA-9S1 and S2 were monoblock amplifiers, so we actually had to buy 2 of them to have a stereo pair. So in total that would set you back £10,000. £10,000 then, $250 shipping included now. The original was very highly praised for resolution and musicality, and actually with this amplifier there's an interesting story to it, and as I've said earlier in the first look video, that was one of the reasons I got this one. Well, actually, the previous HiFi said, at least that's the story version, that this was actually selling very well in a few previous years, past years, as a do-it-yourself kit. And apparently there is less and less people wanting to do something like that back in your home, building your own amplifiers, building your own electronics, and they've said that they were sorry because this particular kit, this particular amplifier sounded very good, and they felt sorry for it to just fade away. So they decided to put it in a chassis, add transformer, add some volume pot, and sell it as a regular amplifier. I don't know if that's the story, that's the real story or just marketing story, but anyway, that got my attention because yes, I can understand that. There are some builds, there are some electronic toolkits available, and yes, I tend to agree that less and less people are building these back at home. People are either buying pre-built kits, or they just go to the regular store and buy something completely different off the shelf. And these, let's call them clones, are presenting a very good value because, you know, that's electronics, that's design. If you'll base your design on very good design that was already proven earlier, the cost of the parts is negligible. So all in all, you can have great sounding, great working electronic device for very little money. As I said, I call it a clone because it's based on original design, but that doesn't mean that this one is one-to-one copy. The design has been slightly altered. It's been actually, the PCB was redesigned. The original schematics were used, but it has less power output transistor pairs, so it has less power output than the originals, and the actual PCB design was retraced to fit on one single PCB inside that we'll see in a moment. Okay, so while we're at the power output, let's talk about the specification. As I said, original was double mono. Each one of them weighed hefty 32 kilograms per each piece, and each one of them had 300 watts output into 8 ohms, as far as I remember, per channel. Yeah, this one doesn't have 300 watts power output. This one has 120 per channel into 4 ohm load, or 80 watts per channel into 8 ohms load. It has very nice frequency response though. According to the manufacturer data, it's good between 15 Hz and 45 kilohertz. The latter is interesting, 45 kilohertz. So nothing like your regular, something around 20 kilohertz, but over double of that, 45 kilohertz. It has surprisingly high damping factor. Manufacturer says it's 653. So that's a lot. Some very good specs for such a small device. By the way, I wanted to thanks again to Manfred for giving me idea for the rotating thingy underneath, rotating stand underneath the amplifier. Okay, so moving from specs to some data that I've actually measured. No, I didn't measure the power output. No. I tend to believe the data that are given by the manufacturers, and it doesn't really matter for me if the amplifier is outputting 120 watts, 250 watts, or 300 watts per channel. What's important for me is that it's able to properly drive my speakers, my regular dynamic speakers and my electrostats from Martin Logan, which are very difficult load because they are 1.2 ohms in the treble region. So they are not an easy load. Again, I'm not doing discos and parties in my apartment. I'm listening to my music with regular, normal volume levels. So yes, the power output does matter to get the dynamics, but I won't be ever listening to the maximum volume levels of something that has 300 watts per channel. Okay, so some measurements. I've checked the temperature on that one, and when it was working for a couple of hours in a row, when it was playing music, at the tops of the fins, so in the hottest place here, it was 43 degrees centigrade, so quite low. I've checked and measured DCBs at the outputs, at the speaker tabs, inputs shorted, maximum volume level set on volume pot, and DCBs measured here, and it was, listen to that, it was 0.3 millivolts per channel. Each one of them had exactly the same DCBs, and it was very, very low. It's actually an excellent result. I've checked the power consumed from the grid, and it was 60 watts when it was idle, and it was 61.5 when it was playing music. So with regular volume levels, no difference at all. I've also checked the input resistance, not impedance, because I wasn't checking and measuring that at any given frequency. I've measured that with my multimeter, and that's I'm saying this now because it will tie to something else that I will talk about later. The stock amplifier, as you get it right out of the package, will have 15 kilo ohms between, sorry, not here, but I'm on the inputs. But if you remove one resistor that I've shown in my first look video, the input resistance goes to very nice 100 kilo ohms. Okay, the external build. It's made of solid, thick aluminum The case is very nice. The front looks like that. We have Breeze HiFi logo. It's laser printed on the aluminum. We have volume. It's not actually a scale, it's just a suggestion to rotate it clockwise to have it louder. We have a power LED here, and we have a power switch here. Yeah, I like to play with that. On the back of the device we have inputs, one set of RCA inputs for left and right channels, and we have two sets of speaker tabs for right and left channels. We also have power socket here with integrated fuse compartment, and we have a simple printout saying that we should not expose this equipment to rain or moisture, and that we should not open that because of risk of electric shock, and it has a model name here. Okay, so what do we do now? Well, obviously we open it up. So the case is thick. That's common theme in my reviews. I think I'll get some more light here, so give me a second. Yeah, it's October, so even if it's a sunny day outside, it's still not as sunny as it was during summer. So I've already covered the internal build in my first look video, so only the main points here. We have Breeze HiFi transformer here. It's rated for 300 watts. You may see that or you may not see that. I'll get that off the tripod and we'll be back to shaky times. Okay, so that's our amplifier. It has a symmetric build for left and right channels. All the brown capacitors are Nippon chemical capacitors. The red ones are VMAS. You can see or you cannot see the power output transistor pairs in the lower part there, and you can see HDAM module here. These power of small transistors for both channels are here. The black capacitors are Rubicons. We have some nice ceramic resistors here and there, and we have some very nice, let's zoom in, yes, there, very nice coils in here. Okay, while we are here, let's give you a slow, yeah, as you can see, Breeze HiFi MA-9S1 version 1.4, and that's interesting. The board says it's been designed in July this year, so it's very fresh build. Yes, and we have twin OPA 07 1/2 channels. I guess these are working as DC servos, or maybe IV conversion. I don't know, I'd have to look that on the web. So let's take a look at the power board. We have a speaker protection relay here. It's not Omron, it's some Chinese brand, Songle, but it works. Some more Nippon chemical capacitors, and we have Elna for audio. Let's rotate that, yeah, like that. So you may probably see these are 10,000 microfarads each, and they are rated for 63 volts. We have 4 of them in total, so we have 40,000 microfarads here, which is a pretty nice capacity for a capacitor bank. We have a rectifier with heatsink here, and what else? As you can see, all of the connections are done with industrial connectors. Nothing is soldered to any board, so it's serviceman or do-it-yourself guy doing build, because you can remove everything without any desoldering. You can disassemble everything in a matter of minutes. And we can see that the input signal goes via this cable to the volume pot, and volume pot is actually quite cheap. It's 100 kilo ohms here, and the output from the volume pot goes to the board here. So this basically begs for a volume pot bypass, because as you can see, it's using the same type of connector, which is a very good practice. And being this being a British HiFi build, I'm pretty sure that the pinout on the connectors is exactly the same, which also makes sense. So I'll do another video on that, although it's very simple really. You can just unplug the input from here and plug it here instead of this plug that goes from the volume pot. But I'll do another video on that one. Yeah, and we have something interesting here. Let's zoom in. These guys. As you can see, they are not exactly connected anymore. They were when I was doing the first look video. They are not exactly connected now. I've cut them. 15 kilo ohms were with these parallel to the inputs, and 100 kilo ohms is with these disconnected. Okay, I guess that's all on the internal build. The specification says that it's built on HDAM SA modules, and also this. Oh, sorry, you're not seeing anything useful right now. Okay, so let's leave it up. Okay, so the specification. The specification says that it's using 4 pairs of Toshiba 2SC5200 and 2SA1943 as power output transistors, and it's for HDMI modules. It's using 12 pairs of Toshiba's 2SC2240 and 2SA970. Yeah, one further thing that I've noted here, that's actually very important. Although it doesn't get very hot on the external part of on the fins, it does require good venting, and it does have a lot of space on the outsides, and it's also a good practice to lift it up and give it some more ventilation space underneath. Yeah, why I'm saying that? Because it happened 2 times that during my burn-in, when it was quite hot in here, it switched the sound output off, and once I removed the lid and let it cool for like 10 seconds, it was fine for another week. So the thing is, remember to give it some breathing space and to give it some ventilation space. Okay, so that covers the build and the things that I wanted to cover about inside. One more thing. The cables are laid quite neatly, not the most ideal way, but as you can see, they are tied together and the layout is quite nice. Okay, so let's move to the sound qualities. One important thing that I'd like to cover before I begin: the resistors there. I have no idea what are they used for. My only suspicion is that they were here because of the volume pot. The volume pot is 100K, and with that working as a current divider, the volume pot was working in a kinda logarithmic way. With these removed, the volume pot is more linear, so you're able to use more range of the volume pot when you're listening to your music. But that's basically a moot point, because I would advise you to bypass the volume. and also to cut them. But getting to the point, why am I talking about the resistors again? Because this could actually be two separate reviews for this amplifier. The first review would be describing the qualities, the sound qualities of this amplifier with these resistors in place. And the second one would be what's happening if we'll remove them. And that's something that I'm more or less gonna do right now. So bear in mind that the first part of the review is for the stock form of this amplifier with these two additional resistors. Okay, so the bass. Okay, so it has a very good low extension. The lowest piano notes sound very, very good, very natural, with absolutely great textures. This is one of the amplifiers that I've tested that has best textures in the bass region. The bass is quick and agile. It does have no mid-bass bleed whatsoever. However, it's also not mid-bass thin. It has just the right amount of mid-bass. Not too much, not too little, just enough to make the solid foundation for the rest of the spectrum. Moving on to the mid-range. The mid-range is throaty and natural for male vocals. Example, Rag and Bone track called Human. I love the track, I love the sound. Again, the low notes in the vocal are very, very nicely textured. There's a lot of detail there. Female vocals are very natural and very intimate. An example for that would be track Sylvia Hotel by Cheryl Wheeler. I absolutely love the track. I absolutely love the things that she does with her voice when she's singing. Also, this track is very good for checking the imaging and detail, but more on that later. Okay, so if you'll be listening to Sylvia Hotel, notice the strings, notice the sounds of the strings, the harmonics, and pay attention because with this amplifier you'll be able to hear some small nuances like fingers moving along the strings. So that's something amazing and very, very nice. That's actually digressing to the detail area, but wait a minute, and there will be more on that later. Okay, moving on to the treble. S sounds are a little bit grainy. They are not sibilant, but grainy. Again, I've said it once in one of another reviews. This can actually be good or bad thing. These are not exactly smooth. These are grainy. So for some types of your music, it will actually be a very good thing because you do not want to have your hard rock songs to be smooth. On the other hand, you do not always want to have your acoustic ballads being grainy either. So there's this, but as I said, two reviews, resistors, keep that in mind. Okay, getting back to the treble. Other than that, other than this little graininess, it's very clear and detailed treble. It's very airy. For example, another particular song that I like and I'm using for my testing purposes, Babayetu by Christopher Tin. There are great chorals there and there's a great detail because you can actually, the choral music is quite complicated. There's a lot of things happening at the same time. And on bad equipment, the choral will sound like one sound source and one mutated blob of sound. With this amplifier, you can actually hear that there are many different voices getting together as a choir, and you can actually also hear additional things that are happening in the foreground and background, because it's not like the guys are only singing. There is also some instrumental music in the front and in the back happening, so you're able to discern the voices and the sounds of the instruments. So that's excellent. Again, remember, $250 shipping included. Amazing. Well, okay, well, let's get back down to earth. The detail. Excellent detail. What's important it's keeping the detail also when listening with low volume levels, which is quite important because some of the amplifiers, some of the clones that I've also reviewed, maybe it's not like they're bad with low volume, but they are clearly better with higher volumes. This one scales perfectly well. If you're listening with low volume levels, maybe not exactly silently, but quietly, you'll also hear a lot of detail, and the music will be very nice to hear. Okay, you can clearly hear, you can clearly hear not only the foreground detail, the things that are happening in the front of the sound stage, but you can also pick and hear the things that are happening in the back of the stage. So that's very interesting. And the same goes for left and right. You can hear the details, the strings, the percussion, the small sounds in your music, in your instruments, perfectly sharp on both sides of the scene. And this, yes, one more thing, it has a very black and clean background, meaning that there's absolutely no noise. That's actually shown something I should cover during the build. No transformer hum whatsoever. It's that quiet. Also, no hiss, no noises in the speakers, with quiet input and volume maximum and maximum volume level. So it's that quiet. And this quietness gives this black background. The detail can be heard easily because the noise floor is very low. And that gets us to the scene and imaging part of the review. This amplifier has very precise locations for instruments. Even small sounds, even very quiet things, you can precisely and easily locate them around the soundstage. So I absolutely love that. Again, the information is a little bit better for left and right panning, but there's also a lot of information for the depth and height. Not as much as for the left and right, but it's perfectly fine. I have no problems with that whatsoever. Again, the separation and precision is very, very good. And I guess that the imaging benefits from all this detail-related stuff, that you can hear the distances between different instruments because there's a lot of spatial information in your music that this amplifier can actually provide to you. Okay, so now, as I've mentioned, this should be 2 reviews, because all what you have heard so far was for these resistors in place. But I couldn't help myself and just cut them out and leave them out of the path, the sound, increasing the input impedance resistance level to 100K. And this brought significant changes to the sound. All of the things that I've said earlier about graininess are gone. The sound is perfectly smooth when it needs to be smooth. It's grainy when it has to be grainy because the recording is grainy. Again, spatial information is way better. The precision gets better. The soundstage, it's still wide, but it's deeper, and you can easily hear the sounds in different planes. So it all gets even better if you remove these ones. However, then the volume here gets linear, and well, our hearing is not exactly linear. We prefer, as humans, prefer logarithmic scale for the volume setting, but it doesn't matter because this is a power amplifier, and you basically will set the volume probably only once, and even this once can be too much because you'll probably want to bypass the volume. As I've said, I'll do another video on that, very short one because it's easy to do, and I'll show you how to do this step by step, and I'll tell you about the sound differences. I guess I don't have to tell you about the way to properly cut these resistors off. Yes, the best thing to do at that point would be to cut them completely or to desolder them completely. Doesn't really matter. So you won't be leaving something like that hanging inside, and that's what I'll do later on. For now, I wanted to show you what this looks like. Okay, so getting to the loose faults and the summary, and that section will cover also differences after removing these resistors. Okay, the price is basically impossible. The price is absolutely absurd. Yeah, I think it's on the level of John Lindsay Hood 1969 that I reviewed. It's lower than Musical Fidelity A1 clone, and it's lower. It's quite lower than Burmester 933 that I've also reviewed. So I guess this is the cheapest, or on par with 1969 of those amplifiers. Yet it's very clean, very precise, and very musical, and the price is simply impossible, which basically means that the original circuit from Marantz was absolutely great design. The interesting thing is that you can still buy, I think I've checked that, and I think you can still buy original brand new Marantz MA-9S2 monoblock amplifiers. But the price is quite high. Yes, it is, and you need two of them. So there it is. But this one is absolutely cheap. Okay, the music, the sound is very clean and effortless and very musical. It easily makes the speakers disappear. The ambience is very, very good, and if you have any kind of live recording, something like Give Don't Go, you can clearly hear the difference in ambience between recordings. You'll hear which ones were recorded in studio, which ones were recorded live, which ones were recorded in a larger room or smaller room. So this is an amazing quality. I guess it's connected with precision and detail this amplifier provides. Okay, microdynamic swings are good, but are not as good as for 933, Burmester 933. So for example, the Fallout 3 theme played by London Philharmonic Orchestra, just the beginning of the track, the first sounds are so and should be so sudden that they should make you think in a way about the nuclear explosion, but they are very short. So it's not as dynamic as Burmester, because Burmester was a king of bass, but it's also very, very good. So every concert, every live recording sounds absolutely great, because you can precisely pinpoint and hear all the audience voices, all the shouts, all the screams, everything. It makes you feel like you'd be actually there. And this is a very important quality, because this amplifier can achieve that without the use of tube preamplifier. So I have to check that, but it means that with good tube preamplifier it can be even better. Again, less than $250, shipping included. Okay, another thing that I've noted here, very, very, very good vocals. Yes, I actually wrote very 3 times. Yes, I've connected this also to my Martin Logans. It was good with Martin Logans, with my electrostatic speakers, but it has lost some of the effortless and fluidity that it had with easier load. As I said, accents go as low as 1.2 ohms. And this amp is spec'd for 4 ohms minimum load. So there's this. But it was able to drive them, and that was, I think, one of the few, actually one of the 2 amplifiers in this price range that were capable of driving the Ascens at all. And it was actually pretty good. Remember, we're still talking about the resistors in place, because when I removed the resistors, it regained that fluidity with Ascens, with electrostat speakers. So you need to remove them, basically. Okay, what else? I really like this little guy. In some aspects, it was better with my electrostats than costlier amps. Once I removed these resistors from the audio signal path, it was like an instant level up, and in some aspects, like precision of imaging, like this three-dimensionality, it was better than some of other amplifiers that I've reviewed so far. Again, I've noted that, again, the same place, it does need some good ventilation. Okay, so now that was all stock with that resistor bridge on volume pot inputs. Removing that bridge allows for volume control in full range. As I said, you can use it, but it's linear. And as I said, it's instant level up for this amp. It gets even more air and clarity. And as I said, this also happens with electrostats. With these resistors, you can clearly hear on my electrostat that there's something restraining this amplifier. If you remove them, the restraints are gone, and the sound, it's clear, it's airy, and it's dynamic. Yeah. What was the idea behind the resistors? I honestly don't know. The only thing that pops in my mind, as I said, is to make the main volume pot sound logarithmic. Nothing else. If you have any ideas, if you have, if something pops in your mind and you think you may know why it was reached like that, please give me a shout in the comment and please try to explain that. I've actually reached to the producer about that, but I haven't received any information back yet. If I get anything, I'll add that to the description under the video. I really like this amplifier. Once again, I really like this amplifier, and I completely understand why, if that's not only the marketing story, I completely understand why they just couldn't let that kid die. I don't like to use big words, but I think that in this price bracket, this is the best amplifier so far that I've reviewed. Yes, the Brewmaster will have tighter, faster, and more dynamic punch in the bass. The musical fidelity will have this absolutely golden mid-range. This one overall will also have a very good mid-range, very throaty, very natural and organic mid-range. It doesn't have that slam as Brewmaster does, but it has better detail and better spatial information than Brewmaster. All in all, you're very often asking me which one of these amplifiers are the best, and it's a very tough question. Not only because I would have to choose just one, but also because of the fact that if I may compare this to choosing cars, which I often do in the comments, at some level, if you'll be asking me which car is better, I don't know, Dacia or Renault or BMW. Yes, the answer is clear. BMW will be better. But if you'd be asking me the same question, but which car is better, a Lamborghini or Ferrari, then the answer is not obvious, not clear, and I don't think there actually is an answer, correct answer, because at that level, both are excellent. And which one will you choose is not meaning exactly that this one is objectively better. It means that it suits your tastes better. And the same goes with amplifiers, with these clones. Bear in mind that the original constructions are in tens of thousands of dollars, or in tens of thousands of pounds, or even more, like for the Dart Zeal. So there is no clear better and worse amplifier, yeah? It's more about your taste, it's more about the music you're listening to. For example, if you're not listening to rock, if you're listening to, I don't know, acoustic, small ensembles, you will never use the solid foundational bass on Brewmaster. And then again, if you're listening to music that was recorded in 40s, 50s, 60s, you'll never use the detail that this amplifier is capable of. But then again, you may use the bass for Brewmaster if you'll be listening to some rock songs from this era. So yeah, that was quite long digression. Anyway, I really like that amplifier. I can easily recommend that amplifier. Please do remember about the proper ventilation, because yes, during 2 weeks of burning, it switched off the sound output twice. Each time it was fine after 10 seconds of cooldown. Yeah, one more thing about that. That's my, let's zoom in, that's my burning setup over there. So basically, as you can see, it doesn't have a lot of airflow around it. The idea is that I want to give all the equipment as hard time as I can during this 2 weeks of burning. So I'll be sure that the equipment is reliable and works fine in normal use. Yeah, so highly recommended. If you'd like that review, you'll find the links to the store and to this amplifier in the description. If this video helped you to, I don't know, to decide whenever you want to buy this amplifier, or you'll pass on that one, you're more than welcome to buy me a beer via Super Thanks or join the membership of the channel. And I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm extremely happy that we're growing, meaning you guys and I. The channel has passed 4,000 subscribers. That means a lot to me. I've never expected, when I've started this in May with Dart Zeal review, I've never expected that there'll be so many people interested in seeing and listening about these devices. Yeah, that's a nice surprise. So let's not get so emotional. We are celebrating 4,000 subscribers with this review. I hope you had a nice time watching this review and listening to me talking about this amplifier, and I hope you'll have a wonderful day ahead of you. So stay tuned, thank you guys, and see you next time.